You've landed on the science of fishing, where passion meets precision. Before we dive in, we would like to thank Bloody Battery, Sea Mule, and Black Reef Co. for sponsoring this episode.
What's going on, everybody? Mark here with another episode of the Science of Fishing. We got a very special episode today with the guys from the Quest for the Crest and Fish Blue Water. We got Captain Alex Burgess here from Living Water Making Time, Captain Drew Roanhouse from Jolene, and Captain Bernard Paulhus from Native Sun. We got Jamie back there, Jamie Bunn from Fish Blue Water, and we got our bar back, Jazz.
Yeah, baby.
What's going on, guys? So, Jamie, you just had a record tournament at the Sailfish Challenge, man. You know, 1,467 sailfish released, 912 on day one, 555 on day two. How do you feel right now having the record, not only in Florida, but in the U.S.?
It's honestly, it's a surreal feeling. It's hard to process. Like when you and I talked about these podcasts and putting this together to bring our top captains together, coming out of leg two and getting in their head a little bit for leg three, who would have ever thought that part of what we could be discussing is being days off of a record-setting billfish bite? And yeah, I mean, I've been running tournaments for 30 years. I've fished competitively for longer than that. The Sailfish Challenge celebrated its 22nd year. And I mean, this is the kind of fishing that you would typically hear internationally, you know. But to know that kind of fishery is right here off the coast of Florida when the conditions line up, I mean, it has literally been the talk of the industry for the last 72 hours, and it should be.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at social media. I couldn't be down here for the tournament, but dude, my feed was just filled with Fish Blue Water, record day, Fish Blue Water, record tournament. It was just like insane to see all these fish, and some of these guys here, I'm sure, had record days, you know, so it's wild to see.
To put it in perspective, and obviously these guys are the main characters of the podcast today. So Jazz and I are just going to bartend and have fun, and I'll fill in where asked and where needed. But it took 25 releases just to break the top 30 this past weekend. Let me give you some perspective on that. 25 releases is more than you need typically to win a tournament. Like, the average tournament is probably won with anywhere from 12 to 15 fish. Our top 5 teams released 264 fish in 2 days. That's unheard of.
Yeah. That's
just unbelievable, really. And I think it's a testament to a lot of things. It's a testament to good luck in falling on, you know, having an event with, you know, a premier event with a 61 boat fleet that just happened to fall on the right dates, with the teams that have the skill level in those kind of conditions to prove what kind of numbers can really be put up and have a contest of all contests, which is what we saw, you know, for 48 hours and 2 days of fishing in, you know, the Sailfish Challenge.
No, exactly. And, you know, last year you had a record tournament, and now come this year, it's just like the fishing is just getting better and better. I can't wait to see what happens next year.
So prior to if you take away the 912 fish caught on day one, 555 would have been a record for us. Like, it's just, you know, and I was kind of preparing myself, all right, 912, like, are we going to fall off of a cliff here, you know, because the conditions were changing a little bit. But honestly, some of that north wind held in there, you know, the conditions held in there. And yeah, it tapered off a little bit on day two, but then literally, as Captain Alex will talk about, because they had a red hot day two, the last couple of hours of day two were rivaled what we saw on day one.
Yeah, no, 100%. So going into that, Captain Alex here, pleasure to have you. You know, this is not your first time fishing this series, not your first time fishing this tournament, but it's the first time fishing with Living Water Making Time. You know, you've won the Burgundy Jacket. I believe it's one of the first ones, I think the second one. You know, you have a Burgundy Jacket back then, but now going into this tournament, you know, how do you feel coming out of the challenge?
We took a big jump here in the second leg. We faltered a little bit in the first one, and definitely happy with that finish. Jolene's got a really big lead, which is going to be hard to pass up. So we got all our bait already ready to go for the final sail, and just going to do a couple days of pre-fishing, and hopefully it all works out.
I love it. I love it. So you guys fished the operation at first. Talk to me about how that went for you.
Day one was really good. We were, I think, in 9th or 10th on day one, and just couldn't get a bite on the second day. Just like we were, same thing with old number 7. We were right by him, and we just couldn't get a bite. And tried running all over the place, and just wasn't our day. And with this series, that's how it goes. You got to be consistent. You don't have to win one, but you got to be consistent.
Right. I mean, you guys are now top contenders. You guys, I believe, are in the top 10.
We're tied for 5th right now.
Yeah, there you go. Tied for 5th. So you guys could go and you can get another jacket.
Oh, it's possible.
How does that feel, being right there?
It's good. That was the whole goal of Mark setting up this team, and it's working out so far. This is only our 2nd tournament together, and some of his teams coming with, and then some of my teams coming together, and guys are starting to get along.
That's good.
If I could interrupt for a second, Captain Drew,
Yes, sir.
could you maybe pass that over to Captain Alex for me?
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure that Mark Miller might like to see that.
Wow.
That's what we call a check for
$164,000.
$164,000.
Wow.
Thank you.
2nd place team. And they
Not
were
made
also-
out to the right person, though.
You'll have to take that up with Mark.
How does that feel holding that check? That's a lot of money,
That's
man.
a lot, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Great feeling. And when we lucked out and got the release roundup,
Yeah.
that was awesome. Didn't even know we won that until headed to the awards.
Yeah.
And that was a $54,000 Calcutta.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yep.
So, Captain Drew, you being on Jolene, how was it, going into the challenge, and talk to me about operation, and then what went down? What was the thought process and everything?
Well, I mean, the operation, we're based out of Key Largo, so every year it's kind of the same routine. We get up there a couple days before the tournament. My boss lives in Alabama, and he's bringing 3 or 4 new guys every trip. So I got my core group of guys that we hire, and then I got 3 anglers they're new to this whole scene, but I know some people up there, like Jamie on the old number 7. He's always good at intel. I got 3 or 4 guys that I could talk to. I know they're going to shoot me straight, and I'll do the same for them. So he kind of said, hey, this is what's going on this week and where they've been biting. So we pre-fished a couple days on the ledge, and that's kind of where we started. And we caught 11 that first day, and we were just out of the top 3 or 4. And then, day 2, we caught 3 doubles. And that last double was at 12-13, and we hung on for dear life. And I mean, the wind went west, and everything started to shut off. And I'm like, we had 17, but I'm like, we're definitely going to need more. It's way too early to be, to win it with this, based on what everybody else had. And then all of a sudden, like 2 o'clock crept around, and then 3 o'clock, and I'm like, is this really going to happen? And it was literally like the last minute, nobody was hooked up, and I'm like, boys, we just did it,
Yeah.
And we won it back in 2022, so to be able to do it again was just an amazing feeling,
Right.
Obviously. And then going into the challenge, the bite down south had just been it's been slow, and I wasn't real confident in it. And based on what happened at the Buck Cup the week after operation, there was a pile of fish up there, and it was a real light wind. So looking at the weather, you're like, all right, we're about to have a north wind, like conditions could go off. So that's why we made the run up. And then obviously Friday, we beat the boat up trying to get it to the ledge before lines in, and come to find out I did that for no reason. But about around 9 o'clock, Art started catching him, and all of a sudden he had like 20 something, and I'm like, I know he's down south, and I know what's happening, because it was crazy that a year ago on the exact day, the 21st, we went and pre-fished for the challenge, and we went to Triumph, and we caught 61 in 6 hours.
Wow.
Now, granted, that's pre-fishing, we're not getting video, but I mean, it was legit, like the craziest bite I've ever seen. So when we're running down there, and I'm looking at, and I'm just watching him, like, he's up to 24, I'm like, I know exactly what's going on. So as soon as we got down there, we kind of saw the line of boats, and we got to the north, and as soon as we put them out, there they were. And it was just like as fast as you could go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was
That's
pretty
awesome. Well, congrats to you guys for winning operation for a second time. Putting on a show at the challenge, and going into final sale. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, by the way. I had forgotten about the insane pre-fishing bite that was just before Sailfish Challenge last year.
Well, it is wild too, because we had that. They bit really good the day before on the 20th, and then we're going out there and same condition, north wind, but you never know. You're like, I hope it's going to be going off, and then we got out there and we put them out, and within 60 seconds we had a quad on, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And so the next day we go out, and the day before the challenge, we go to the same spot. It's green water, south current, and there's weed everywhere. and didn't see a single fish. So that next following morning, the first day of the tournament, we got up at 3 a.m. and ended up fishing all the way up in Juneau. So we caught 61 down in Triumph, and 2 days later we were fishing up in Juneau, and that's where the bite went off that afternoon. So it was pretty wild.
That just goes to show how the fish move. It's crazy.
Yeah. Conditions and current really mean everything in this game. You know, the wind is ideal if it's where they're working against each other, but if you're fishing flat calm and there's current and you got fish around, I feel like you can get bites versus the opposite.
Yep. Awesome. Captain Bernard, so you guys did pretty well. You guys had a great tournament during the Operation Sailfish. Talk to me a little bit about that. I know you were not there, correct? But your team was there and you guys put on a show, but you were there for the challenge.
Right. On my boat, we fished a series down in the Keys, and unfortunately, the tournaments conflicted being on the same day, and we were in the hunt for that deal down there. But you know, obviously, I've got my phone going. I'm paying attention the whole time. I'm rooting for the team. I'm texting them. I'm sending them all kinds of encouragement. And you know, the key to chasing that jacket is you've got to be very good in every tournament. You don't have to win every tournament. You don't have to be great in every tournament, but you got to be very good. Consistency is what gets you across the line and in contention for that honor right there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I got a question for all you guys. You know, people can say that, you know, with the sheer number of fish that were around, you know, you might have gotten lucky, or you got lucky, or you got lucky. Talk to me, you know, for those people that are listening, you know, how much skill is involved here? I mean, putting out those lines and doing all that, I mean.
On day one, a lot, because it's blowing 25, and I've seen a lot of teams that aren't flying the right kites and they're dunking them because it's blowing 25. You have to have the right kites out, and then everybody's going to get the shots when they're biting like that. And then just having good anglers, just not getting overly excited when you have 4 or 5 fish on, just staying calm.
There's a lot, you know, the difference between catching 31 that day and 45, or you know, whatever the top number was. I mean, like you said, you get this on a north wind if you can get your right kite to kick just a little more, so you're getting more of the fish that are running perpendicular to it, you know, rather than 2 kites right behind the boat, or just you know, a guy off the bow when you're fighting, especially the big boats, a little different than the center console. It's like if we're backing down, we got, you know, you're gonna have a guy off the bow to really capitalize because we've got that many fish coming through. But yeah, there's a lot of just little things you learn over the years that just it really makes a difference. The difference between just going out there and catching 10 on a bite like that and catching 40 is it's pretty crazy what can happen.
Yeah.
Dialed in.
When the bite's this crazy, it's all skill.
Yeah.
It really is, because you got to capitalize on every opportunity, and you wouldn't see the same names over and over at the top of leaderboards when the bite's really good. I mean, when a tournament's won with 4 or 5 fish, anybody can get lucky and fall in the right spot. But boy, when it's like this, the cameraman cannot screw up. I mean, there's nothing that costs you more than not doing the right thing with the camera. You know, you cannot understate how important it is for the captain to have the right intuition, the right intel, put you in the right spot at the right depth, you know, positioning the kites right. And then, you know, after that, yeah, you have to have anglers that know what each other are going to do. We have a setup where everybody is on. I have one rod and reel in my hand as an angler on this team. I do nothing but watch my bait. I don't care what's going on around me, what they're doing. All I do is I watch my bait. I look for that second, third, fourth bite. I look to pick my bait up if I got to get out of the way, avoid cutoffs. And if you can't anticipate what's going to happen, you're going to screw it up. So there's an awful lot of skill that goes into this.
I think there's probably people that are going to be watching this video, guys, that, like, you know, catching 1 or 2 fish, you know, at a time is, you know, they're accustomed to that. But I'm sure they're probably curious to know, like, is there anything you could share about, like, the different little things that make the difference between a double and becoming 5 or 6 fish, which we saw called in routinely in Sailfish Challenge this weekend? We had plenty of teams. We had some 7-bangers called in. So how does that happen?
Got to have a lot of rods ready, because once you release one, you got to be able to grab another spinner, and helps having guys that are hungry. And I'm up top yelling at everybody. Once they get a fish off, I'm having everybody throw another rod right on the back. When we're chasing, if we got 2 out the bow, I want as many rods as we are allowed to fishing.
Right. Biggest thing I've learned since I've been running a big boat is the first year or two, you see all those videos of like sport fish backing down into a sea and flooding the cockpit, and like we get a bite, I'm not moving. Let that fish go do its thing. If he goes way offshore, let him go. We got 700 yards of line on that thing, because like if you can stay in the zone with your baits fishing, that will, and it's not like, all right, we hooked a 5-bagger, all 5 of them came up at the same time. I can't tell you how many times we've had a single on and we're just slowly creeping back. It's going the same way that they were swimming, and all of a sudden, boom, there's one on your mid, one on your left short, and you just keep going. And my biggest thing is too, I don't like to spin the boat so all my kites are like behind me if I don't have to. If I can drive towards the fish and keep all my guys looking back at their baits, and like he said, I got 7 guys, everybody's holding 1 rod. That way the bait stays in the zone the entire time, even when you're moving around. That really has helped us a lot.
Yeah, patience. You have to be patient. You can't get happy feet.
Yeah.
You got to just let it all evolve. Let them come up from 40 feet down. Let them just pop up on your baits. It's the most amazing thing to watch, because like you said, most people think it's like 5 at once. It's not. It can be spread out over 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then if they start swimming together, you can pitch another one at them, because there might be 4 more with them. How they're behaving. There's just so much to read into the situation to try and capitalize on additional
That's how
bites.
a couple of our 6-bangers turned out. We had just 3 on, and as we're chasing them, another fish would just show himself right behind the boat, and you just throw a spinner at him, and he immediately ate it.
Yep, get that reaction bite.
They get
It's awesome.
they get themselves fired up. And the biggest example I've ever seen of that, like live, was we were practice fishing for a sail fly tournament down in Alamorada, and you basically just do that with 2 ballyhoos out with no hooks, and then a guy's throwing a fly rod. Well, we raised a couple fish. There's just 2 of them, and the mates, I was down in the pit, and we're throwing ballyhoos as far as we can and winding them up. And these 2 fish were getting, fired up trying to eat them. All of a sudden, there was 10. But that was after like 2 minutes of just teasing 2. So, you got to think about it too. If you hook a single and you back down on him real quick, pop him off, he keeps swimming. You don't know how many was down with that fish. And obviously, there's certain situations where if you can get a quick release, you're going to take it. But like he said, having some patience can really pay off for multiples like that.
That makes sense. That's the name of the game with fishing, right? Patience. So.
Well, typically, you invite your friends on the boat, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna catch a lot of fish," and you're like, "Look, I want to keep your expectations in check, right? This can be hours of boredom interrupted by brief moments of chaos, right?
Yeah.
This was constant chaos interrupted by brief moments of anticipation, because you never got bored, just because you knew in this condition it was going to happen again very quickly.
Right.
So it was.
I don't think anybody ate lunch.
Nobody had lunch.
We had no lunch, no drinks, nothing.
A lot of bottles up in the tower got filled up and dropped down.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, cool, guys. Appreciate that. Now we're going to break to a message from Raymarine.
For those who answer the ocean's call, time on the water is everything. That's why America's first responders and the U.S. Coast Guard rely on Raymarine. From weekend warriors to professional captains, our electronics are made for every American waterway. With Raymarine, you get the rugged technology and accuracy trusted by America's finest every day.
All right, guys, welcome back. So now we're going to talk a little bit about Sailfish Challenge. And for Native Son, Bernard, how did it go for you guys? You guys had 48 releases on day 1, 17 on day 2. Talk to me about what the chaos was ensuing, like you were talking about.
So we're heading out of Hillsborough Inlet, trying to decide, turning right, we're turning left. And, no one on the boat really says a word first thing in the morning. Just let Art, Art is so intuitive. He's so dialed into what's going on because he's out there all the time. And, so he turns left and we're like, all right, guess we're going north. We all sit down. We're like, we're going to have a long ride. And we're all assuming we're going way north. And then all of a sudden the throttles pull back and you hear him giggling up there. He's like, "Oh my God, they're here! They're here! We're gonna rack them up." And we're sitting there going, "We got an hour. You sure you want to stop?" Stop. Free jumper here, free jumper there, free jumper. Like, all right, we're good. Well, let's start getting everything ready. And we're just sitting there motoring around, waiting. Put the
Longest
kites out,
hour ever.
and it's like as soon as we start firing out baits, here they come. And I think the first 2 hours, I didn't have any clue how many fish we had caught. We were so busy. There was so much going on. And trying to keep track of what's going on when you're just trying to focus on your bait and keeping everything lined up right. We were as surprised as anybody that we had caught as many as we had in the first 2 hours. And then, of course, then here comes the cavalry, right? We see a number of boats start running in, setting up north of us, setting up south of us, starting to box us in, and things got a little slow for us for a little bit there. And Art decided, well, let's go get out of the pack and let's go find another pack of fish. And picked up. We made a big move south and found a beautiful rip and set up on the edge and caught another 15. The rest of the afternoon, and he just kept racking up numbers, and we were just, we were giddy. We couldn't believe it. We're busy as could be. So day 2, we kind of went back to the same place, and everything had changed. Just like what Drew was saying about, in Triumph the year before, we'd gone South Current, we'd gone Green Water. We tried it for a little while. We saw some free jumpers, but it just wasn't going to happen. So off we went, 40-mile run hard south. Finally get down, and literally as soon as we stop, here come 2 tailors, and we're like, all right, we found them again. We're going to be back at them now. And we picked away at them the rest of the day, and
went down to Miami, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, at 40 knots.
Yeah.
In a center console at my age. Well, come on, man, we need a bigger boat.
And that's not an easy decision to make when you've had such success the day before in a spot that's so far away from, but that, again, obviously is why you guys are a team that's in contention for a burgundy jacket.
He has so much confidence in the knowledge that he's put together the weeks leading up into this, and he's very, very intuitive. Like I said, it's a combination of all these years and the intuition, and it blows me away. We call it Art doing Art things.
Yeah. He's a fishing guy.
It's a handful of guys that the fleet says that about. And
he's one of them.
Yeah, he's one of them.
Yeah.
For sure.
Awesome. Yeah. So Drew, you guys caught 27 on day 1 and 15 on day 2, right?
26 and 15, yeah.
26 and 15.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that.
Well, kind of the same deal as the operation. We only got up there a couple days ahead of time. There wasn't much of a condition during the practice. So the afternoon, the day before the tournament, there was pretty good water moving in on the ledge, even right out front of Palm Beach. So my first intuition was just go right out front, do maybe a condo drift there, and just kind of see if it goes right or left, and then you're not too far out of it. And then, of course, you get out there at 7 and you're like, there's smoke in South Current, and then you start getting reports from up the way, like, well, there's a little, somebody saw some fish up at the boundary, the day before in the afternoon. I'm like, fine, if we're going to chug in this stuff, let's do it before line's in, So we took a beating to get up there, and we fished till about 9 o'clock. We caught 1 fish, and then I could tell by the leaderboard the numbers that were being put up weren't like, all right, this guy got a lucky quad, or and I was like, wind him up, and it took us till 10:15 to get down there. By the time we did, Native Son had 24, and then we kind of got a beat on him. It was right off the martini glass, and then we started, as soon as we put him out, we started getting bites. I mean, we pulled off, we pulled the hooks on quite a few fish that day. I mean, we had close to 45 bites in 6 hours there, but I mean, we caught the 26, and then day 2, it was. We ran down to Boynton and trickle us south. So I kind of ran back up to Lake Worth Pier. It was a little more swelly there, but there still wasn't much current. And we kind of landed on a little pick. It was just us and just chilling, and we both caught 6 real quick. And then the whole fleet kind of did the same thing. Like Catch 23 came to the south of us, Louis parked to the north of us, and there was one little batch of fish there, and then that kind of all went away around like 11. And then I started hearing those boys, Alex and them started catching them up the way. And then I talked to JC and found out, Art was down the way. And I'm like, do I want to go all the way up to Juneau? Because I knew it was kind of it was going to be a parking lot up that way. And so I started to go south, and I got, I went like 10 miles, and I was right off the Martini Glass, and I was the only boat there. And it said it looked good. And I go, there's fish here yesterday. So we found a little wreck, and we did 3 drifts, and we ended up going like 9 for 12 and raised 15 in like 3 hours.
Wow.
Kind of just finished off the day like that. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Caught a triple, raised like a 5-bagger, caught a triple with like the last 10 minutes. So that was, to be able to put us in 6 was big. Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Cool. It was cool.
Captain Alex, how was it for you?
Yeah, we ended up going up to the ledge on day 1, just like a lot of boats did, because there was a lot of fish caught there the day before pre-fishing. And as soon as I got there, I knew it probably wasn't going to be happening with that south tide. The water was a little bit off. But because there were so many fish, we just started there and caught 3 really quick singles. And then obviously I looked at the board and just saw Art smoking them. And we had probably an hour without a bite. And then we left a little bit after 9. And I got down to almost a Boynton, and I called Art. And I was asking him how many boats were on him. And he's like, I got one sitting under my kite. So I was like, oh, let's go find our own fish. So I just went off right in front of Boynton, not a boat for 3 miles in front of me. Had it all to myself for probably 2.5 hours. And like he said, we had a ton of bites and missed a lot of fish that we don't usually miss. I think we were 26 for 40.
Yeah, we had some angry fish. These are the most angry batch of fish I've seen.
Yeah,
really.
And,
this tournament. Yeah.
a couple of those fish, and then a couple of the fish we missed on the second day, and we would have been very close to catching Art. And then day 2, I was on my way out the inlet, and this is where networking comes into play. Is a boat that was already off Del Rey told me there was south tide, and a boat that was already off Juneau said there was north tide. I was like, I knew we needed to find our own fish on day 2 and to have any kind of chance of catching up to Art. Ran all the way up to the 55 and had 5 miles of ocean all to myself. And luckily we weren't smoking them, we were just picking at them, so the fleet didn't come flying up to me like they did to Art the day before. And then,
Except for when you went from 12 to 20 like that.
That meme was still epic.
And then it was like around 1 o'clock that the boat started flying up there, and I saw the Sandman set up next to me, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, he did that in the morning to us. I go, I don't know to be scared or honored, but Louis just north the hell out of us.
So you guys talk a little bit about networking and talking to each other on the water. How much transparency is involved in these conversations, and how much secrecy is involved? I mean,
It's a lot better than it used to be. It was straight lying back in the day.
yeah.
Well, there's a lot more people telling the truth now.
Why is that?
I think people are just not as much into lying as they used to be.
Yeah, I think it also depends on who you're actually talking to. Like,
Yeah.
I got probably during a tournament, I got 4 guys that I'm gonna talk to, and I tell them exactly what I see. Because, you want to come down here and catch them, let's go. But I'm not, because it's all gonna come around full circle. Because if people find out you're not being honest with them,
Yeah.
then there's gonna be a day where you need some help, and if turned your back on somebody in the past, it really just, I think it helps just to tell them what you see. If you trust them and they're not going to spread it around to the whole fleet or something. But
Two-way street.
yeah, it absolutely is.
Yeah. You get what you give.
Yep.
Right. Makes sense. All right, we're going to take another quick break. We're going to go to our message from Yamaha.
Introducing the all-new Yamaha 4.3-liter V6 offshore F350. It's a featherweight knockout, being the lightest 350 horsepower outboard on the water. This F350 marks the dawn of a new Yamaha power platform, borrowing advanced features of its V6 and V8 siblings. The Yamaha V6 Offshore F350. Exhilarating boating and incredible control in a powerfully light design.
Welcome back, guys. We're gearing up for the final leg of the quest for the Crest. Jamie, final sales coming up. There's a $100,000 guarantee in that tournament. How are you feeling about it? Are you excited? What's going through your mind gearing up for this last leg?
Well, I'm feeling really good about it because a big portion of it is paid for by Raymarine and Yamaha, and not me. So, but in all honesty, yeah, I think it's a testament to both brands that are getting behind this series and competitive fishing in a big way, and helping us offer a tremendous reward for the teams that participate in all 3 legs. And I think the beauty of it is, while the most prestigious award, as it should be, is that burgundy jacket to my right, for claiming, your status as the world champion of competitive sail fishing. The teams that may not even be in the hunt for that are still going to be wide open if they join us for final sale in Coconut Grove, because it literally is based on 2 days worth of results, day 1 and day 2, and that's it. And I also have received a lot of, we started this last year, it made a lot of noise when people realized how it bumped payouts up in final sale, and it's also a 50-30-20 split. So 3 teams are going to get to share in that $100,000 guarantee, with $50K for first, 30 for second, and $20,000 for third.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, so there's a lot of money still on the line even if you didn't fish the last 2 tournaments, you have a great shot.
We had 32, 33 boats in final sale last year, which is half of the fleet that we would have had in the first 2 legs.
Yeah.
And we awarded as much money in Coconut Grove last year as we did in any of the other 2 tournaments. So it's a tremendous opportunity for the boats to come down and participate in it.
Awesome, awesome. So, Alex, you just got a big check. What are you thinking going into the next leg, into final sale, chasing another big check and those burgundy jackets?
Well, I hope the fishing's as good as it's been. I mean, both legs so far have had a really good bite. I'd rather have good fishing than slow fishing. Just makes for more fun while we're down there. I haven't sailfished down there in a while. I've been out of the sailfish game for probably 7, 8 years, just meat fishing.
Can't tell.
Yeah,
right?
clearly I haven't forgotten how to do it.
Yeah. It seems like you still know what you're doing.
Sandbagger.
Right now, just don't pull them away. That's all.
Yeah. I'm used to just yanking them out of the water.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say you're out of your element, but you're really not out of your element. Like, what's the mindset, like, going into this last leg?
It's going to be a lot more thought into it. It's not like we're going to be out of my backyard. Both tournaments have been in my backyard out of Palm Beach. And I've fished down there enough. I know everywhere down there. It's not like local area like it is at home.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get down there and see some stuff pre-fishing and make a good decision on game day.
I got you. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Drew, what's your thoughts fishing on the Jolene and going into this last leg?
Well, for us, I mean, we kind of is our backyard. You know, the southern boundary is the spot, essentially, which is right out front of Ocean Reef. So we will definitely be able to get some more pre-fish days in the next, month here. Obviously, there's another couple tournaments coming up that aren't part of the quest, but, it gives you time on the water, obviously. But then the boss comes in for a spring break trip. So just the more time you can get out there and just check conditions, see what things are doing based on the tides. I feel like Miami is a lot more tidal dependent than some of the spots up north. So obviously being able to get out there, see what's going on from day to day on consecutive days really can benefit you for sure. So we're looking forward to it, obviously. See what happens.
Do you feel any pressure being the guy that everybody's gunning for?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I enjoy it. It's cool to be in this spot, but like now I'm going to bed thinking about it. Like,
right.
All right, what do we got to do? Like, we don't obviously winning first place and then finishing in the top 6 is great. We're in position, so we just got to go out there and when I start to overthink things a little bit, I just kind of take a deep breath and I said, dude, just go fishing.
Well, and hold on a second, because Alex, you said everybody's so much more honest now, right? Like, you've won a burgundy jacket. Like, is there any advice, transparently, you would give to Drew in this moment? As a guy who's also in contention for that burgundy jacket?
Yeah, he's going to tell me to go keep fishing.
That usually works out for me. Just put wire on the killers start biting it.
There you go.
Yeah.
I hear there's fish the day you fall out.
I love it. Bernard, what's your thoughts?
For us as a team, we are so dialed into doing our best to hang a burgundy jacket on our shoulders. He's won so much. He's come so close, so everything Drew just said is right. Everything Alex just said is right. We got to go out there. We got to stay loose. We take it one fish at a time, and really hope the fishing is good. You can't overcome an 8-fish deficit unless you're going to catch a lot of fish.
8-point deficit.
I'm sorry, 8-point deficit.
Yeah.
Thank you. An 8-point deficit unless you're going to catch a lot of fish. It really will help us. It'll help everybody, to be competitive if the fishing's good and making the right moves, and it really rewards, those decisions.
Yeah,
Well,
makes
and
sense.
it's nice too. You kind of have the operation is up in Palm Beach, and it's a Palm Beach boundary, so to speak. And then the challenge is, it's always, it messes with your mind. Where you're going to go 140 miles or 120 miles, whatever it is. And then it's kind of nice when you get everybody out of one location. And, the northern boundary, I think, is Hillsborough?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and there'll be times where it goes off up there, but typically that time of year, it's haul over down to the reef. So that's the fun part for me is you might not land on them real quick, but if you're
You can
paying
get to
attention to the leaderboard and figure out, okay, who went left, who went right, and then getting into contention as the day goes on, that's a big part of this, this whole thing.
Well, and I agree with you. Like it's this series has people that come in from all over the place to fish it. Mostly owners and stuff. But at the end of the day, their core groups and their teams are South Florida guys that are going to stretch from the Jupiter area down to the Keys, right? Yeah. And I think if you really truly want to say you are going to crown the best team in sail fishing in South Florida, it makes the most sense to say we have traversed the body of water that encompasses that from north to south, and we've given the guys, like Alex would not argue the fact that Palm Beach is his home court, right? Going into, Miami, Drew's going to tell you that that's his home court, And so all of these teams have the ability to hold home court and see how they do, and then they have to go to the visitors' court at some point in time, right, as well, and perform. And I think that's nice to have that diversity and balance before you say, hey, this isn't just guys that won because it's a Palm Beach-based series or whatever the case may be.
Right. I mean, that makes sense. So you have that diversity to be able to have guys truly claim that they fished everything and that they're the best.
Right.
Awesome. So Jamie, we've got 3 of the top 5 teams right here. They're going to be duking it out. We already know they're signed up for the tournament. How do you get signed up for the tournament if you're not already signed up?
Yeah, so it's you just go to you can go to bluewatermovements.com, and we'll have registration links there on the site, or go straight to fish.bluewatermovements.com, which is actually our registration platform. The beauty of this series is even if maybe you just somebody who lives down in Miami and you're not keen on fishing the whole series, but you want to get in the mix and have some fun, take a shot at winning some good money, learn from some guys that are down there fishing it, that are the best of the best. You don't have to be a part of the entire series to come down, to come out and fish it. So registration is open now. Early entry is open all the way through March 19th, I believe. We've got a room block in the Courtyard Marriott in the Grove, which is awesome. You can walk right across the street to where all of our parties and activities are at Shake a Leg and Bayshore Club and all that stuff. And I didn't love Miami as much previously, because it's no knock on Miami. It's crowded. It's a busy place. The Grove, they've done a fantastic job. It's super chill. And the people that were a part of it last year with us for the first time when we moved it into the Grove absolutely loved it.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it. It's in my backyard.
Yep.
I live down there, so I'm excited to get out there. Oh yeah, it's beautiful. The Grove is amazing. I can't wait to get out there. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks to our sponsors, Raymarine, Yamaha, and Broward Design. Appreciate you guys. We'll catch you next time on The Science of Fishing.
Thanks for joining us on The Science of Fishing. We hope that this episode was helpful and you learned something for the next time you're wetting a line. Before we cast off, a special thanks to our sponsors, Bloody Battery, Sea Mule, and Black Reef Company. Stay hooked by following us on social media at Science of Fishing and hitting the subscribe button. And if you know someone who'd enjoy this, please share it with them. Until we meet again, catch 'em up.